frustration is different from anger, which is different from resentment, which is different
Yeah.
from indignation. So, we start to learn the nuances of these emotions, and we can find them in the body.
Welcome to the Connectedness Podcast. Just as you might have guessed, I talk about connection in this podcast. Our connection with everything in the world around us. We're connected whether we see it or not. Whether it's your connection with your dog and your cat, or your connection with your God. Also, I talk about things that are more abstract, like your connections with your career or your land, your community, your family, your emotions, your body. Life is truly all about connections, and the sooner we recognize this, the sooner we get to have an easier, more enjoyable life. I'm going to talk about these connections through different lenses, but things like synchronicities and coincidences, or everyday little bits of magic or miracles that we tend to dismiss. It's important we pay attention to all of this to help us, like I said, live an easier, more satisfying life. So welcome to the show. I'm your host, Reverend Karen Cleveland.
Hello, welcome back to the show, everyone. Today, I am super excited because we've talked a little bit about the body and connection before, and I have an expert here that's going to actually talk about all these connections and what she has learned about the body and all the energy around it. And I'm not going to spill too much because just stay tuned. It's going to be super interesting. I'm really excited. So welcome to the show. We have Sarah Lascano. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Thank you. So Sarah is the founder of Raisin Energy, creator of the Raisin Lightwork Technique, master biofield therapy practitioner. She's an internationally recognized best-selling author, speaker, and energy medicine practitioner. Sarah is known for revolutionizing healthcare because she helps her clients and audiences with an integrative and innovative approach to healing that can treat resistant chronic illness. She's been featured in media outlets, including magazines and television. Whether Sarah is speaking to a group of 20 or hundreds, her audiences love her ability to bridge the gap between Eastern and Western medicine, which I love. Side note, Sarah utilizes her diverse background that merges her engineering training with her practical spiritual wisdom. Sarah is known for her down-to-earth, heart-centered speaking style because it includes science-based solutions, authentic delivery, and content-rich strategies. So happy to have you here, Sarah, and I can't wait to dig into everything. Welcome to the show, and how are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me here. I love, helping empower people's health. So thank you for having me.
Fantastic. Yeah. And we can't wait to learn about it. So why don't you tell me, you have an engineering background, which is like 180 degrees from practical spiritual wisdom, right? So why don't you tell me a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so I was kind of living the standard American dream of working in logistics and sales and jet setting all around and selling software and doing consulting. And my health crashed during my first pregnancy. And that health crash, I grew up in a family of Western medicine. My dad was a physician and lots of physicians in the family. And there was always a pill to fix everything. And when this happened, the doctors had no answers. They told me to avoid the 90% of the foods that were causing me symptoms, and that's all really they could offer. So I set off on a journey to recover my health because I felt strongly, something deeply within me knew there had to be a way to undo what had happened. And that's how I discovered this entire way of being, is through my own health journey.
Wow. That sounds like a painful way to discover it, but that's awesome. So can you tell us a little more about, what you discovered and where you went forward from there?
Yeah. Well, I began to discover that the body actually has an intelligence and that it was stymied somehow. Something was blocking it. And I had always grown up thinking that the body needed doctors to fix it, that it was broken. And I don't believe that now. I believe what I have learned is that the body gets derailed. Its healing ability gets blocked, derailed, clouded, however you want to think about it. It's not connecting and firing the way it should. But once we restore that, all of a sudden the body can start healing, and it can happen very, very quickly. And I believe this is why we have cases of spontaneous healing. You know, there's spontaneous remission of cancer, there's spontaneous healing. It's miraculous when it happens. It's amazing. And I think this is why the body somehow gets it gets reconnected. And that's what I do through my work. So I really learned about this foundational principle. And then I learned that the mind and the body are actually deeply connected. And what is going on in our soul, in our mind, in our thoughts, deeply affects the physiology of the body. And this has been proven through research now. We have research to back this up. It's not just a woo-woo idea anymore. It's truly reality.
Right.
And so these are the principles that I'm using.
Wow. So tell me about your process then. How do you help others then reclaim health and their lives? And let's say someone comes to you with, a really bad backache or sciatica, or even a chronic, just a chronic inflammation, maybe. What's your method?
So what makes my work a little different is I tune into the body and let it tell me what it needs. So this is it's kind of a different process, because I don't intellectually know the reason for everyone's dysfunction, because we all have unique stories, we all have unique experiences, but your body knows. The body has this amazing intelligence. And so I tune in intuitively. I use my intuitive skills that I have nurtured and trained and practiced with. And the body, I can feel sometimes what the body is experiencing. I can hear where it wants me to focus. I can see a blockage somewhere. And I fix those problems, those blocks, those stresses that have accumulated and derailed the body, so that the body can then start to get better. So for instance, in low back pain, we carry a lot of tension in our muscles, and we have a lot of imbalance in our muscles, and that creates tightness that messes up our posture. It disturbs our alignment. It creates tension in the piriformis muscle and other muscles that pinch the nerves and create pain. So we have so many mechanisms that when we move this energy that is stuck, all of a sudden the muscles can relax. All of a sudden the posture can balance, and we can get very quick relief. Now, I can't tell every single person that has low back pain that the piriformis muscle is a problem.
Right.
But when I tune into the body can tell me, with me knowing, a little bit about the anatomy and the physiology.
It sounds incredible. You have the raise-in technique. Raise-in, I don't know if I'm saying that right. So how does that work, and how do other people use it, or do they?
Okay, so I have taught practitioners how to do this work. Right now, I'm really being led to help people do it for themselves. So I'm really being led to provide accessible, usable tools that we can use anytime, anywhere, even. So I have some digital sessions that I'm working on, really getting out there and making more friendly for practitioners. So my passion is to help change medicine. Like, that is really what I want to do. I want to empower physicians and healthcare practitioners with tools that can help people address these aspects in an accessible way. So that's kind of a side note. I have trained practitioners. There are things we can do at home to really help ourselves. I'm actually in the process of writing a book right now, and I hope to include a lot of great information on this idea. But simple things like working with our emotions, like trying to stay grounded in the present moment, acknowledging the stresses that we're under and how they affect our physical body and trying to lessen them. These are all amazing ways that we can decrease the stress and noise in our system that will help our physical health. We don't realize that the stress that we're under, the amount that we sleep, the food that we eat, directly affects our immune system. It directly affects our nervous system. And therefore, it directly affects our chronic health because inflammation creates pain. It affects the blood sugar. So, just about everything, right? Diabetes, high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, chronic back pain. All of these are helped when we can soothe our nervous system, decrease stress in the system, and the immune system can get out of warrior mode, stop attacking, and start calming down. Private sessions with me, I specifically go after that and help people lower those things and correct them. But we can do a lot at home with some self-help tools. So I am in the process of trying to make more information available for folks.
That's great. So I hear a lot about how our emotions are in our body and how we need to clear those. Is this effective for things, say I go out and I sprain my ankle, or is it just simply for chronic illnesses?
So that's a great question. So if we take a step back and if we take a step back to the spiritual side of things, why did you sprain that ankle? You sprained that ankle because there was a weakness in that area of the body and it got injured. What caused the weakness is the real question. And that is the root cause. Okay, so that's what I go after in all of my work. We're looking for the root cause. So I believe that even injuries that seem random and odd are not random. I believe there's a reason that the body got injured in that way, in that place, at this time. I believe injury also helps loosen energy that might be stuck in the physiology. So we can work with it. It gets kicked up when we agitate, like, maybe you step on a rock and cut the bottom of your foot. Well, if you look where that is on the foot, you might find there's a meridian right there. Or breaking your finger. Like I've done that several times. And it's a particular meridian that is related to what is going on psychospiritually in my body at that time. So there's usually a link between the acute injuries and something that the body needs to work with that it might not know about.
Psychospiritual. I like that. I like that term. That's good. That's perfect. So you're from this medical background with your family, a bunch of doctors, and you're an engineer. Had you already started on some kind of a spiritual path, or did that all develop because of your situation? And how did that start exactly? I mean, like, how did you learn what you know?
So I was just a very analytical, science-based, left brain person until my health crashed. I had a bout of food poisoning one night. The next day, I was violently ill for a few days while I was pregnant. Within 2 weeks, I had joint pain and food problems. Food sensitivity started accumulating rapidly after that food poisoning event. I thought it would all go away when the baby was born, but it didn't. We both had health issues. So I launched off on a mission like a mom on a mission, that was me, to recover my health and to recover my child's health. Through that process, I started learning about tools because I was desperate. I mean, it was desperation that led me down this path.
Right.
And I started learning about EFT, emotional freedom technique. I started tapping. I started learning I didn't even have any emotional intelligence. I could probably barely name 5 emotions. Now I routinely work with a list of 250. So I started learning a little bit more. Yeah, there's a lot, right? Frustration is different from anger, which is different from resentment, which is different from indignation. So, we start to learn the nuances of these emotions, and we can find them in the body. But anyway, experience and desperation and self-reflection and learning more. And along the way, I was led to different resources to read, different events. And then with the pregnancy of my second child, my forehead started suddenly buzzing. It was somewhat startling. I thought I was getting EMF'd from my power grid. But eventually the baby was born and I wrapped my head in some Faraday, some shielding cloth, and I still had it. So that's when I realized this was not a man-made thing. This was some kind of spiritual energy.
Wow.
And so it progressed from there.
Wow, that sounds intense.
It was
You're
fun. Yeah. Now I kind of laugh because it's really fun now because I'm like, oh, spirit's with me. I feel very connected when I feel circling in my hands, or I still do feel circling and buzzing on my hands, my healing hands. So that aspect is really fun now. But at that point, I for sure thought that something bad was happening for me and the baby.
right, right. So do you, being the practitioner of these wonderful tools for other people, do you take care of yourself in the same way? I mean, is there a routine that helps you stay, keep your energy in check and keep your physical body in check?
I'm still working on that. I'm a busy mom. I have 3 young children. So I'm still trying to get that good balance. I routinely do my detox sauna and relax, meditate when I'm in there. I try to meditate each day. I do have a spiritual practice. I also live
Fantastic.
out in the woods. I live on 18 acres where when I'm
Wow.
home, I'm away. It's like a little retreat, which is
Yeah.
really wonderful. I
Yeah.
try to spend time out in nature, and I stay really grounded with my kids. They really do keep me grounded. I do work on myself a little bit, but normally I have a community of practitioners that I rely on, and we help each other. We trade. So those are the ways that I personally strive to keep my energy clear and grounded.
Yeah. So a support group basically for you. Yeah, that's really important, isn't it? For everyone
Mhm.
to know that they have the support of others. And you can also know for one of them that they have, the ability to heal as opposed to them knowing it for you. So that's fantastic. So what are some steps some people can take? My listeners can, if they're feeling something, some steps they can take to help regain their health?
So if you want easy and simple, I have a 10-minute audio session that balances stress. It's a stress less mini session on my website for free. Anytime you feel stressed, anytime you feel hyper, amped up, anxious, anything like that, you can listen to this and it will balance your nervous system, your endocrine system, and your mind to help bring calm. So that's a real simple do it yourself kind of thing you can use 24/7. One of the most important things you can do to maintain your health, because what we want to do is prevent energy blocks in the first place, right? We want to be proactive, is to work with what comes up. You have to get to the point where you're willing to work with your emotion. And that means if you get angry, not flipping on your phone and distracting yourself. That
Mm,
means feeling the anger, expressing it in a way that is safe for you. So that could be journaling, it could be praying, it could be um, meditating, it could be walking out in nature, it could be pounding a pillow, whatever it is. It doesn't mean we have to express it to people. We have to express it out of ourselves.
okay.
So working with our emotion, whether it's anger, whether it's fear, anxiety, whatever it is the most important step, because we are taught that we shouldn't that emotion is a weakness. Showing emotion is a sign of weakness and it means you're out of control. But that's really not true, because when we control it and push it back down into our body, we are creating an energy block. We are creating some kind of storage of energy that is blocking our body.
Okay.
So that is really the most important thing, is to become aware of your emotions and be willing to work with them.
When you work with people in individual appointments, do you need to see them in person or do you work online with them somehow?
I do. I do a lot of remote work. Probably 80% of my work is over the phone or over Zoom. I do work with people all over the world, and it works just as well. I tell people that, it's really what you believe, but it does. It works just as well over the phone.
Yeah. And does the client need to be in any particular position? Like, do they need to be laying down? Do they need to be sleeping? Do they need to be awake and aware? What is their conscious role in this?
Their conscious role is to be open to receiving healing. That's
Mm,
really all it takes. So the calmer and more centered and quiet the person is during the session, the more likely they're going to feel the energy, which is always nice. It's always affirming for people to connect with sensations in their body that are happening, tingling, heat, movement, even digestive gurgling, all kinds of things happen during sessions when energy is moving. But there is really no limitation. I've done sessions for people when they're flying across the world on an airplane. I've done sessions for people when they are sleeping, so there is no absolute, but I prefer to have people with me and in a quiet state, whether that's sitting, lying down, anything. I've even had moms doing dishes while they're doing sessions, but I don't advise it. It's not my preference.
All right. So on a little more personal note, how does your Western family feel about what you're doing now? Do they think you've gone off the edge?
Yeah, I think they thought I did for quite a long time. But what happened, it's actually a great story. I was actually a little bit afraid to share too much because it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But they were supportive. They love me. But they didn't want to know too much. But what happened actually is my father had to have a back fusion surgery, and it was really traumatic. And he had a very difficult time recovering. He lost his appetite completely. And as a physician, he knew that he needed to eat to be able to heal. So 3 weeks after his surgery, he still was having a terrible time eating with his sense of taste. Everything was revolting. And I was able to fix that for him in one session very quickly.
Wow.
And that was all it took. He's like, I don't know how that worked, but that was amazing. And I'm very grateful that it worked. So now he's one of my big supporters.
Nice. And do you believe there can be, can there be a blend of Western and your energy work? What if someone's just half on the edge? Like maybe it works, but let me go to the doctor and get my antibiotics just in case.
Yeah, 100%. I work with people who are on cancer journeys. I tend to work with people who are quite ill, in addition to people who just want to be their best.
Okay.
But I work with people who are dealing with chronic pain and are on pain meds, or they're hospitalized with anxiety, or they're on antidepressants for severe depression. So these are all things that I have a lot of experience with. And the beauty of this kind of work is it's 100% complementary. There is no side effect. There is no interaction of drugs. It's all beneficial. And as we strengthen the body, those medications work better. And cancer treatment, chemotherapy or whatever agent it is, things work better as we help the body be stronger. This type of healing into a doctor's office where doctors can do what they do, I can help do what I do, and the patient gets better faster.
Have you run into a situation that you feel like you're fighting against the Western medicine? Like maybe it's taking the patient down the wrong road? And I mean, I know you're not a physician, you can't diagnose, you can't do anything like that, but do you feel like sometimes you're fighting against Western medicine in a person's body?
No, I don't. And that is because we all, I have a very deep respect for free will, and we all have a choice, and we make the best choices that we can. I more often feel that I'm fighting with the person because the person isn't able to stand up for themselves and advocate, or they're not able to leave a destructive relationship, or they're not able to, I'm not fighting with the person. I'm trying to free the energy that is keeping them stuck.
Right.
So that's really what I'm doing, is freeing what is binding people into the current moment. So no, I never feel a conflict with a person's chosen treatment plan. They might start to feel a conflict and want to choose a different way. Like maybe they decide that they would rather try some at home or more natural remedies for an earache than go to the hospital, to go to the doctor and get the antibiotics first, first. But yeah, I think it's completely complementary, and that's really the beauty.
That is the beauty of it, because I could see, being afraid of having some kind of judgment. It's like, well, if she finds out I'm going to the doctor, she might not be able to work with me. But so that's very good. I love knowing that they work together no matter where it is on the spectrum. So this is so fascinating. I'm not even sure what questions I haven't asked. Is there more information that you want the listeners to know that I didn't ask about, that we didn't cover?
Yeah, the only thing that's popping in my mind is the body and the mind have a very, very discrete connection. It's not just this esoteric thing anymore. And the way this works is our nervous system is immediately triggered by what we think and feel. And that happens with hormones. It happens with adrenaline, cortisol. We have neuropeptides that are emotional communicators in our body, and so many more are neurotransmitters. So when we feel an emotion, a whole chemical cascade is kicked off that then affects our physiology. So this is really how the mind and body are connected, and it's real. We can't deny it. We can't talk ourselves out of it. It just happens.
Yeah.
So I just want to really help the listener understand that this matters. We've always minimized our emotion. We've always minimized our thoughts, our mental state, our stress. But this really affects our physical well-being.
Yeah, it really does. So what a lot of people don't know is my history was in pharmacy. So from the time I was 19 years old, I worked in pharmacy for many, many, many years. And I did some work with the studies, investigational studies, and I was always amazed at that time. So I was not on my spiritual journey yet, at the placebos and looking at the results of the placebo versus the actual drug. And it's like, why take the drug? Sometimes the placebo is actually better.
Yeah.
So that's, as far as I'm concerned, scientific proof that they don't put out there, that your belief is very important with the body.
Very important.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm so grateful you were here today. I will, of course, post all your links on my on the show notes, but do you want to tell anyone where they can find you, and if you have anything coming up that you want to share?
Sure. So you can find me at rayzenenergy.com. That's RAYZEN energy.com. I have lots of great information and free resources on my website. So there's lots there. And, the Stress Less Mini is really the best way. If you're curious what this kind of work is like, it's a great way to just check it out and experience it for yourself from the comfort of your home. And I do have digital sessions that are available for purchase on my website, and they cover all sorts of ailments: back pain, allergies, liver detox. So lots of fun sessions out there. So that's something, if this work calls to you, it's a way to play around with it.
Are those pre-recorded sessions, those specific? Okay. Oh, that's nice. So I can just go on, and I don't have to make an appointment if I want a liver detox, for example.
That's right. And those sessions are designed to be listened to more than once. So it's like a self-help tool that you have available to you in your listening library anytime, 24/7. So they're pretty nice. They're pretty accessible and convenient.
Fantastic. That's great news. I'm excited to go explore a little more. I didn't see those yet, so I'm going to go back to the website. Thank you so much. And I look forward to helping get this word out there, because I fully believe, of course, that our mind-body connection is very important. And for the health of the world, we kind of need to get the word out there. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to head over to revkarenpodcast.com. That's REVKAREN podcast.com. There you're going to find the tools for finding more meaning and happiness in your own life. Plus, if you have a story that you want to share with me, either on or off the air, be sure to look for that form. Make sure you follow me so you get notified when new episodes drop. And also, I'd love to connect with you in my Facebook group, Connectedness with Rev Karen. So head over to revkarenpodcast.com. I hope to see you there.